Alright, I'm officially calling the summer movie season over. And honestly, it wasn't that bad of a summer. Like last year I had some real shitty ones like Valerian, Dark Tower, but this one, for the ones I've seen, they've been pretty good. I still haven't got around to seeing Jurassic World or Solo, but, you know, from Infinity War starting it up all the way till now, hasn't been entirely unpleasant. Operation Finale, directed by Chris Weitz and starring Oscar Isaac, Ben Kingsley, and Melanie Laurent. Which is awesome because I've been calling Oscar Isaac Oscar Yitzhak for years. Pretty much as soon as I found out who he was, I started calling him that. Specifically because of Ben Kingsley's character in Schindler's List, Yitzhak Stern. So it's like I brought them together and made this. And I know in the past couple years I've seen a few World War II era movies and reviewed them for the channel, but I don't think I've seen anything Holocaust related. So I haven't been able to really express how much I like that genre. Like, historical drama is probably my favorite genre of all of them, just because they're all pretty good. You know, I don't think I've ever seen a really bad historical drama, unless, you know, honestly, if there was a bad one, I would have noticed in the trailer and never gone to see it. So while I may like a comedy or a superhero movie more than any particular historical drama, the bad ones are so bad that I can feel it, whereas with historical drama is just consistent. So within that genre, though, Holocaust movies and World War II is probably my favorite. Like, the World War II element of it is obvious. You know, Saving Private Ryan came out when I was like 6, and like I saw it back in the 90s. So I've always been aware of how good World War II movies have been. And the Holocaust thing, I'm not entirely sure why I like them so much. Because I've seen all of them. You know, Jacob the Liar, Boy in the Striped Pajamas, Zookeeper's Wife last year. I just can't track it down to a specific point in my life when I started being really interested in the Holocaust. I mean, my mom worked in a synagogue, and my best friend when I was, up till I was 10, was Jewish. But, like, I don't think I started watching Holocaust movies until after I moved up to New York, so I'm not sure. But all that said, this was not a Holocaust movie or a World War II movie. It's more along the lines of Munich. And kind of reminded me a lot of 7 Days in Entebbe, which I saw, I don't remember how long ago. It was not too long ago. But it reminded me of Entebbe a lot because they showed the villain's perspective a lot and had it explained. And in Entebbe, the whole movie focused on the villains, Daniel Bruhl and Rosamund Pike, who honestly really pissed me off at the end of that movie because, as much as I hate to say this, I wanted him to massacre those Jews, like, because he needed to. He did everything in his power to not massacre those Jews, and then when the time came to do it, he should have did it. But that's how it happened in real life, so whatever. It just kind of, it left me with, like, emotional blue balls. So, in that regard, Operation Finale is much better because I may have understood Adolf Eichmann's point. I just was totally fine with him being murdered for his crimes. So I'm at the opposite end of the emotional spectrum at the end of this movie. But overall, it was very much like Munich. I don't know Chris Weitz a lot, but it felt a lot like Munich. Now, I don't know if I would suggest this movie to everyone, though, because Munich had a lot of action in it. This one just has interrogations and not much else. Like, in the middle, when they were going after Adolf Eichmann for the first time, they were going to capture him. In a normal movie, something would go wrong, and that would be postponed a bit. But in this one, they kept feeling like it was going to go wrong, but it didn't. It went about as well as you could hope for having such a, you know, their plan was just to grab him off the street and hope that nobody was looking out the window at that point, but, like, what were the odds of that? Now, as with all historical movies, I don't know exactly what happened, so I don't know which parts they embellished, but I guarantee it didn't come down to the wire like that, like Last King of Scotland style, where, you know, like, the plane is right there and they just need to get it off. At least in Last King of Scotland, you know, Idi Amin was in the building not too far away, so, like, he had to go. Wait a minute. The end of Last King of Scotland is Entebbe, isn't it? Holy shit, those two movies are connected. They should totally have brought back Forrest Whitaker. Like, I've been saying this for years. They should have actors playing a historical role in multiple films, so there's like continuity, so that like future generations look back and say, "Oh yeah, Forrest Whitaker, he was that Idi Amin guy." You know, like they'll just automatically know who a person is in a movie based on the actors playing them. I know it's not feasible with contracts and studios and stuff and copyright laws, but that's how I would like to see it in a perfect world. Now, Oscar Isaac is one of the best actors coming up these days. You know, with his, he hasn't been around for too long. I think um, Inside Llewellyn Davis was like 2009, and even then, like I didn't know who the fuck he was. I didn't start knowing who he was until slightly before Force Awakens. So I think to pair him up against Ben Kingsley, who is quite possibly the best living actor today, it's like a dream come true. I was glad I got to watch them interact with each other a lot. Now, Melanie Laurent, I feel like everyone just saw her in Inglourious Basterds and was like, she was really good. Let's give her a role, but we'll have to beef up that role a little bit because it's actually really minor. Like, she was in Now You See Me, and then that basically just turned into a romantic interest for Mark Ruffalo, so they didn't even bring her back for the second one, or she didn't want to, one of the two. In this, she was a doctor on their strike team that was going in to keep Adolf Eichmann sedated. But they kind of beefed it up with, like, her background with Oscar Isaac's character, and their romantic entanglements, and then eventually getting pregnant, and it's like, I didn't really need to see that. So it just seems to me that in order to justify paying Melanie Laurent, they needed to beef up the role. I don't know. They could have actually been a husband and wife team on a spy squad. I don't think that happens in real life, but maybe. So yeah, I would put this around middle of the road of a very small strip. Sort of on par with Anthropoid. I think that was last year, maybe the year before, with Cillian Murphy. That's what I was expecting this to be more like, because the whole point of Anthropoid was they were trying to assassinate a guy. This, it wasn't clear from the description that they weren't trying to assassinate him. I don't remember the trailer, so I thought they were going to kill him. I thought it was going to be more of a war movie. But it was alright. I mean, I like Bridge of Spies a lot, so I don't mind if a war movie just spends the whole time talking. Honestly, in some cases, I prefer it. Anyway, I'm going to let you go. Bye. Bye-bye.